The lights inside the arena were dimmed low, the crowd roaring with the kind of anticipation that only comes when chaos is guaranteed. Saturday night's main event had already delivered unforgettable moments, but everyone knew what was coming next would be more than a segment. It would be a collision of power, ego, and brutality. Backstage cameras caught movement near the loading docks. A storm was brewing, the kind that only a beast incarnate could bring. Brock Lesnar had arrived. The truck door slammed, and the entire crew scattered. His boots echoed against the floor, each step a warning that someone was about to pay. Lesnar wasn't here for competition. He was here for confrontation. Earlier that week, rumors had spread that Solo Sikoa and his Mfts, the loyal enforcers of the Bloodline's new era, had declared the locker room the island of Solo. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a statement of dominance. But for Brock Lesnar, a man who respected no tribal hierarchy and bowed to no bloodline, the claim was an insult. Word got to Lesnar that Solo had been calling himself the true destroyer of WWE, a man who could humble anyone, even the beast. Those words hit Lesnar like fuel on fire. He wasn't the kind of man to issue warnings, he was the kind who delivered consequences. The broadcast cut to ringside. The crowd was buzzing. Solo Sikoa's entrance music hit, deep drums, sharp echoes of the Bloodline's signature rhythm. He walked to the ring with his Mfts flanking him like soldiers. The arena shook with boos and mixed chants. Solo looked calm, but his eyes burned with pride and arrogance. He had been on a violent streak, destroying opponents week after week. The latest, Ricochet and Kevin Owens, left battered and broken after a backstage attack that felt more like a mob hit than a wrestling ambush. Tonight, he stood in the ring, microphone in hand, ready to assert dominance once more. He declared that no beast, no legend, no past. Only the Bloodline's present ruled WWE. That line didn't age well. The camera cut backstage. Lesnar's silhouette appeared in the corridor, wide, powerful, pacing like a predator who had just caught the scent of his prey. The crowd erupted in cheers the second his image hit the Titantron. The beast was unleashed. Lesnar stormed through production crates and security guards like they were nothing. Each official who tried to stop him was tossed aside, one after another, until he reached the curtain. He didn't wait for music. He didn't need pyro. He just walked through the smoke, jaw clenched, eyes locked on the ring. The energy in the arena shifted immediately. The fans stood up, chanting Suplex City, as Lesnar marched toward the ring. Solo's expression didn't change, but the Mfts tensed. The storm was about to hit. Lesnar slid into the ring, towering over everyone. The camera zoomed in on the two monsters face to face, the beast incarnate versus the enforcer of the Bloodline. The crowd chanted louder, the atmosphere boiling over. Solo didn't back down. He stepped closer, chest to chest with Lesnar, the tension thick enough to slice through. Then, chaos. One of the Mfts lunged first, and that was the biggest mistake of his career. Lesnar caught him mid-strike and threw him halfway across the ring with a German suplex that shook the entire canvas. The second Mft tried to attack from behind, but Lesnar spun around and delivered another suplex, sending him crashing into the corner. Solo stood still for a split second, watching his men crumble, his pride tested. Lesnar turned his attention to him, cracking his neck before charging forward. The collision was seismic. The two titans clashed in the center of the ring like runaway trains. Solo absorbed the impact, barely budging, and fired back with a massive Samoan spike attempt, but Lesnar dodged it, scooping Solo up and slamming him to the mat with a brutal spinebuster. The crowd erupted, chanting "This is awesome." As the carnage continued, Lesnar ripped off his gloves, a signal that the beast wasn't done. He stalked Solo, waiting for him to rise. The Mfts tried to regroup, but Brock launched one of them out of the ring with a devastating F5 over the ropes. The other followed seconds later. The ring was now a battlefield littered with destruction. Solo staggered to his feet, fury burning in his eyes. He hit Lesnar with a thunderous headbutt, stunning him for just a moment before landing a Samoan drop that shook the floor. The crowd gasped, no one had seen Lesnar lifted and dropped with such impact in months. Solo roared, feeding off the energy, standing over Lesnar like a conqueror. But Brock wasn't done. He rose slowly, his face twisted into a grin, that dangerous, beastly grin that signaled someone's fate was sealed. The crowd went wild again. Lesnar charged, catching Solo by the waist, and launched him into the air with a German suplex that nearly snapped the ring ropes. The impact echoed through the arena. Solo tried to get up, but Lesnar grabbed him again, another suplex, then another, the rhythm of destruction beginning. 3, 4, 5 suplexes. The Mfts tried to save their leader, but Lesnar threw them into each other like rag dolls. The camera caught a glimpse of Solo rolling out of the ring, gasping for air, clutching his ribs. Lesnar wasn't satisfied. He followed him outside, stalking him like prey. Solo tried to counter, throwing Lesnar into the barricade, but the beast bounced back, launching Solo into the steel steps. The sound of steel meeting flesh echoed, and the crowd exploded. The commentary team screamed about Lesnar being a one-man army, the unstoppable force taking down the Bloodline soldiers. Solo crawled away, dazed but defiant, until he grabbed a steel chair. The audience rose again. Solo swung with all his strength, the crack of steel echoed, but Lesnar caught it barehanded. The look in Brock's eyes changed completely. Rage consumed him. He ripped the chair from Solo's hands and smashed it across his back. Once. Twice. 3 times. The steel bent under impact. The referee corps and security stormed the ringside area, but Lesnar ignored them, dragging Solo up by his hair. He lifted him onto his shoulders, the crowd roared to their feet, and delivered an F5 through the announce table. Debris scattered. Monitors flew. The crowd went insane. Lesnar stood over Solo's broken body, breathing heavily, his chest heaving like a war drum. The beast had made his statement, there was no island, no tribe, no empire that could contain him. He raised his arms in victory, blood on his forearm from the chaos. The Mfts were motionless, scattered around ringside. Officials begged him to leave, and finally, Brock stepped back, smirking through the destruction he caused. As he walked up the ramp, the Titantron lit up, the Bloodline symbol appeared, glowing red and black. Then, the video feed flickered. It cut to a pre-recorded message. Roman Reigns' voice echoed through the arena, calm, calculated, and chilling. You can fight, my soldier. But when you touch my blood, you call upon me. The crowd erupted again. Roman's message was clear, Lesnar's attack on Solo wasn't just violence. It was a declaration of war. Lesnar paused at the top of the ramp, his smirk fading into a look of interest. The beast thrived on war, and if Roman was calling, he would answer. The camera cut to ringside, where officials were helping Solo to his feet. His back was battered, his expression filled with fury and shame. Even beaten, he refused to fall completely. He shoved away the medics, stood tall, and pointed toward Lesnar. The Bloodline's enforcer wasn't going to back down. Later in the night, exclusive backstage footage aired, Solo in the trainer's room, surrounded by chaos. The Mfts were bandaged up, furious and humiliated. Solo sat silently, seething. He looked at the Bloodline banner on the wall, then clenched his fists. He knew this wasn't over. Word spread fast, Solo had demanded that next week, he and Brock Lesnar face off in a sanctioned match. But officials hesitated. They feared what might happen if two uncontrollable forces shared the same ring again. The following SmackDown confirmed it, Brock Lesnar vs. Solo Sikoa was made official for the next Saturday night's main event. WWE promoted it as Beast vs. Bloodline, Collision of Power. The entire wrestling world lit up. Fans debated who was stronger, who would dominate, and whether Roman would intervene. When the night finally came, the arena was packed to its limits. Every fan could feel the tension. The match didn't even officially start before chaos erupted. Lesnar attacked Solo before the bell, throwing him across the ring. Solo countered with a spike to the throat, dropping Lesnar to one knee. The two tore each other apart. Tables broke, barricades shattered, the referee lost control. It wasn't a match, it was carnage. Lesnar managed to deliver another F5, but Solo refused to stay down. He popped up, screaming in defiance, hitting Lesnar with another spike. Both men collapsed. The crowd chanted "Fight forever," but the referee called for the bell, a double knockout. Security rushed in. Lesnar and Solo kept swinging even as they were separated. The show faded to black with the image of both men bleeding, glaring at each other from across the chaos. That night cemented a new era in WWE's war for dominance. Solo Sikoa had proven he could stand toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar, and Brock had reminded the world that he fears no bloodline. In the following week's fallout, Paul Heyman appeared in a tense interview. His words hinted at something massive brewing. He called it the return of the true tribal war. His tone was ominous, suggesting that Roman Reigns would soon return to restore order, and that Lesnar had just awakened something far greater than he expected. Social media exploded with theories. Fans speculated whether this would lead to Roman vs. Brock Part 4, or if Solo Sikoa would finally break free and lead the bloodline himself. Either way, one truth became clear: Brock Lesnar's encounter with Solo Sikoa and his Mfts wasn't just another segment, it was the beginning of a new feud that would shake the foundation of WWE once again. As the credits rolled that night, one final camera shot aired, Solo sitting in an empty locker room, clutching his ribs, eyes burning with vengeance. On the bench beside him was the fractured steel chair Brock used. He stared at it in silence before whispering something no microphone could pick up. Then, he smiled, that cold, defiant bloodline smile, and walked out into the darkness. The message was clear. The war between the Beast and the Bloodline had only just begun.